Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Here is your host, Dean Masich.
G'day everyone and welcome back to another Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. I'm Dean Vasic. You can find me on X at Hashtag Kangas or Instagram Hashtag Kangaroos podcast. Tonight we're talking about our 15-point loss to Geelong on Saturday afternoon / evening. And as far as losses go, this was a pretty good one, if that makes sense. North Melbourne came out absolutely flying. We were up by 38 points at quarter time after completely dominating the clearances. At one stage it was 22-3 in the opening term. It finished 22-5, so Geelong got the last couple of clearances of the quarter. Sinkin, Sherry, Sheasel and LDU were absolutely on fire. And for that first quarter, the Cats simply couldn't go with us. They had no answers. Unfortunately, once the clearance battle evened up after that, Geelong were able to get the game back on their terms, particularly in the second quarter. They started controlling the front half, putting pressure on our ball movement and creating turnovers, and that's ultimately what got them over the line. They kicked 9 goals in the second quarter to completely swing the game around. And despite North continuing to fight it out, especially in the second half, the Cats had enough in the final stages to win by 15 points. As someone has already come into the chat now this guy at Kevin Hawthorne 5257, good morning from Lakeland, Florida. Good morning to you. Thanks for listening to the Hashtag Kangaroos podcast all the way from Lakeland, Florida. But there was a lot to like about this performance. The way we started, the pressure, the clearance work, the willingness to take the game on, and the fact that we pushed a genuine top 6 side right to the end. So on tonight's show, I'll go through my 5 likes and 5 dislikes from the game before getting into your responses from X and seeing what you guys thought of the performance. Yes, we lost, but I think there's plenty here to be encouraged by. So let's get straight into it. So I'll try not to make this a long podcast. I wasn't too sure if I was going to be able to do this tonight or tomorrow or whenever, to be honest with you. Had a lot going on in the last 24 to 48 hours, which has kept me very busy. I'll just quickly share what happened yesterday. So my son played in an under-12s grand final. It was a big day. Down by 19 points at quarter time. I thought I'd share this. It kicked 4 goals after only kicking one goal in the first 3 quarters to overrun a valiant Moonee Valley team to win by 5 points. Now, premierships happen all the time, but this club hasn't won a junior premiership for 14 years or something like that, I heard yesterday. And, yeah, there was a lot of emotions involved. Even I got emotional after the final siren. We all ran on the field and celebrated. So I've never been so happy to hear the Tigers theme song, because that's the nickname of the football club my son plays for, West Meadows Tigers. And I've never been so happy to hear the Richmond theme song after, and listen to it over and over again. So it was a good afternoon yesterday, and we all celebrate accordingly. Now, the women's team have a chance to make history. They've been undefeated, pretty similar to North Melbourne AFLW team. So I'll get on to this, the game pretty quickly. I'm sure you people don't want to hear this, but I thought I'll go through it anyway. The women's team have a chance to win a premiership for the first time in over 40 years. So, yeah, pretty exciting times. Now, Sarah Wright's sister, Gemma, plays for West Meadows Tigers. Sarah played, I think, a fair chunk of the season this year, but is not playing in the grand final. She has other commitments, so just in case you're wondering about that. So, but a lot of pressure as well, going in undefeated and going into a grand final. So good luck to those girls this Saturday afternoon. Anyways, let's get into it. So, like number 1, that first quarter. Now, how can you not get an erection over that first quarter? Honestly, it was sensational. North Melbourne absolutely smashed Geelong at the clearances. Like I said, winning them at 22-3 in that opening term at one stage. And so much of our scoring came directly from that dominance around stoppage. The midfield was on fire. And listen to this. Jai Simpkin had 9 disposals, 2 goals, 5 scoring involvements, 3 clearances, 148 metres gained. He was everywhere. It was probably the best quarter I've ever seen him play. Tristan Sherry, 7 disposals, 3 tackles, 5 clearances, and was giving us first use around the ground. Finn O'Sullivan, 10 disposals, 3 tackles, 5 clearances. the kid was absolutely cracking in. Sheasel, 7 disposals, 2 goal assists, 3 scoring involvements, 3 clearances. It was an absolute spifflication. We will win the contest, win the clearances, and then actually making Geelong pay on the scoreboard. That's the really important part. You can dominate clearances all you like, but you've got to turn that dominance into scores, and we did exactly that in the first quarter. It was probably the best quarter of football North Melbourne has played in a long time, based on the clearances. It's not sustainable, which we'll talk about soon, but it was so good to see. Yeah, and I guess the frustrating thing is we couldn't maintain that level once Geelong started to get their hands on the football. But for that opening term, it was bloody brilliant. So that's my like number one. Like number two, yeah, I'm going to... Now, there's probably a number of likes I like about this game, but I really like this kid, Zach Banger Bench. This is Bailey Tyson's boy. He mentioned it to my podcast. He mentions it a fair bit in his podcast. So that's his boy. Now, I'm not going to claim him. No way. That's his. 12 disposals, 4 tackles, a goal, 3 goal assists, and 7 score involvements. All his disposals also came in the forward half. I think it was 91%. And he had 6 disposals inside that forward 50. He's developing into a really quality, smart little footballer. I've always worried about his size, but I think he's got it. Yeah, he got that Carlton little player. I think it's Byrne or something like that. Similar size to him. He seems to be making a go of it. So finally he's getting some continuity into his AFL career. Doesn't have an injury. He did have an injury during the course of the year playing VFL, which sent him back 4 to 6 weeks. But finally, they're giving him a chance. He's got a big heart, and that's what the most important thing is. Like I said, I've been worried about his size, but he's becoming a lot smarter. He understands the game now. He understands the pace, and he's only going to get better. So once he gets a big pre-season in, he will be, he'll be probably a number 1 small forward, and he probably is right now, to be honest with you. So really good to see, and hopefully we can sign him up for, I think they'll only give him 12 months at this stage, but it wouldn't surprise me if he gets 2 or 3 years. So we're really liking what we're seeing from the little fella, Zach Bench. Very good forward craft. So that's like number 2. Like number 3. Now, I was a bit worried at half-time. There were a couple of injuries. The Harry Sheasel injury. Unfortunately, it looks like a fractured eye socket. His eye was pretty closed up. So, yeah, I was a bit worried when that happened. Then, I think 5 minutes before half-time, they were saying Finn O'Sullivan had an injury as well. I didn't actually see that. I was too worried about the Harry Sheasel one. So, but he came back onto the ground, Finn O'Sullivan. But we're able to, after being 2 goals down, we're able to hit the front at 3/4 time. So, yeah, I thought once Sheasel goes down, look, who cares? Put him in cotton ball. Doesn't really matter. The game's starting to get away from us anyway. But we're able to come back and stay in the game through the clearances again. So, yeah, that was a really encouraging sign. So I was happy with that. And with about 5 or 6 minutes to go, I think we're only 3 or 4 points down. So, yeah, fantastic signs for the future there. So that's like number 3. Number 4, Nick Larkey. He had his kicking boots back on. A couple goals went from set shots. But yeah, they were in the run of play. The first quarter was, he didn't even look at the goal. He just knew where they were. Kicked it beautifully. Kicked a nice snap as well. So, yeah, he kicked 5 goals straight, 9 scoring involvements from 10 disposals. I really like seeing. Look, he seems like a ripping bloke. He's been on in Clarko We Trust podcast a few times, and he looks very humble, and we want him to really do well. So yeah, he was struggling there for a period of time, and it looked like he completely lost confidence. There was one kick that I think he kicked into the forward pocket, so that was 1 out of 6. Can't complain too much. He is starting to get back to his old ways, which is really good to see. Suva doing some good things there. And my last like is Jack Darling. He looks so dangerous. He looks like he's going to mark everything that comes near him. I wish he was 5 years younger. He's 34 years old, 2 months, 341 games into his career, AFL career. But this is peak Jack Darling. I feel like it's career best form, although he did kick 59 goals in 2019, 48 goals in 2018 when they won the premiership. So, but at least we are getting a player that he was. I feel like he's very underrated during his years at the Eagles. especially when they did win the premiership and even the years after that. So he probably didn't get the kudos he deserved, especially in Melbourne, but we're starting to see it right now. Another 4 goals. His hands have been so clean. Very smart footballer. So, he did get dropped for a game earlier this year, and I thought, that's good. We want to see the young kids coming through. We want to give Trimbath, maybe Whitlock, Dursma more opportunity up there. But the cream always rises to the top. He's played better than both those boys, Whitlock and Dursma, and he thoroughly deserves his opportunity as that third forward. And he's not a bad third forward, just quietly. So happy to get him in another 12 months, that's for sure. And if we want to take strides forward, he's going to be a very valuable player for us next year. And, maybe the new 34 is, the 34-year-old is the new 30-year-old now, as opposed to when you turned 30 10, 15 years ago. It was pretty much a death sentence, and you were pretty much done as an AFL footballer, right towards the end. But, he's turned into Benjamin Button, and he's looking really good. So they were my 5 likes. There was plenty of other things that I liked. Cameron Zurhaar had a very good game as well in that back half. I will talk about that in a minute, and that will go to my dislike number 1, the defensive half game. Look, Zurhaar, last few weeks, he's growing on me, and he took some great intercept marks. I think he took 10 intercepts for the game. But besides McKercher, we just don't have anyone with speed behind that ball. And it's a lot slower having Logue, Core, Comben, Parker back there, and Caleb Daniel as well. I really like Hardiman and McKercher. I just wouldn't mind seeing one more. We don't need to play Griffin Logue. I think we all know that. I will talk about him soon. But you had to have a laugh. When he is running through the centre of the game, centre of the ground, and he's got one boot on. He lost his boot probably 5 minutes before that. He didn't have time to put it back on, and he got the overlap from Cameron Zurhaar, took a great intercept mark, went through the corridor. I just kept thinking, what's he going to do here? He can't kick the football. So he handballed it to, I think it was LDU, and we turned it over. But that's the Griffin Logue experience. That's not his strength. That's not who he is. You don't need to play these big, tall, slow players, and it's to the detriment of the team. I've said he's very similar in Zurhaar. If the ball goes in the air long and slow, he'll come. There's no one as good as him that comes across and just spoils the ball. But if you ask him to play accountable football or ask him to do something, he will do mistakes. Put it this way: every time you give him the opportunity, he will. Your heart's in your mouth because you don't know where he's going to kick it or something like that. That's not his strength. Zurhaar probably takes more intercept marks, whereas Logue gets a fist and spoils the ball. But it feels like it's just too slow back there. So that's something we've got to work on in the off-season. We don't need to play Core, Comben, and Logue. I think Core, Comben, and Zurhaar as your third tall would be good enough. And you can almost get away with playing, Comben and Zurhaar without even having Core and Logue. But Core has been very good. He did a very good job on Saturday on Shannon Neal. I thought he outplayed him, and he deserves another year at this stage. If I had to take a punt, I'll definitely give him another year. And Parker, he could, Parker, Hardiman, Goda, McKercher. That's not a bad back six with one more there. You could have Core as your 3, and then you get your 4 smaller players with a bit of pace and overlap. But that's what really hurt, because Geelong are the number 1 team for forward half scores, and we played into their hands a little bit there, and they were able to generate a lot of scores from that. So that was my dislike number 1. Dislike number 2, and this is something that's bugged me for a while, the last quarter interchanges. Now, can someone explain to me the Tristan Xerri one? I watch a fair bit of basketball, and you watch Golden State, you watch Cleveland Cavaliers, or when LeBron was playing there. At the start of the fourth quarter, they'll rest their players for the first 2-3 minutes of the quarter so they can go for the rest of the game. I don't understand with the Xerri one. We're starting for the start of last quarter, then about halfway through the quarter, or just before, we take him off for 10 minutes. And he was being very dominant. And then we just lost a little bit with Will Dawson there. He did take a nice mark, Will Dawson, on the wing. But as far as stoppage work goes, I thought Sherry was really doing a good job there. And he was giving us first use and he was giving us momentum. So I felt like we just lost a little bit there. So why not start Sherry for the first 5-10 minutes off the ground so he could finish the last 20 minutes? That's what I like. And then I don't know if people noticed, but we did get a centre square infringement because we made an interchange too late. I don't understand why we took Riley Hardiman off to bring Griffin Logue on to play halfback flank. We needed run and drive behind that ball. I don't think Riley Hardiman was tired or anything like that. He sprinted off as quick as he could, and Griffin Logue sprinted on as quick as he could. But in that situation of the game, with about 5 minutes to go, I mean, how much of a difference would it have been to get Riley Hardiman running through the centre of the ground with 2 boots on, mind you, rather than having Griffin Logue run through the centre of the ground? We just need that run overlap. You seen last week, he did that beautiful kick to Spargo towards the end of the game against the Western Bulldogs. He kicked the ball 55 metres. That's what we needed. We didn't need Griffin Logue on. I didn't understand that interchange. So that was my dislike number 2. Just a couple interchanges there. They could have been smarter and could have been better. When the game's on the line, when you have to win, you got to put your creators on. Players that can run, overlap, give speed behind the ball. But that's why I didn't understand the Griffin Logue thing. And it was an interchange infringement. And look, we just got a warning. But we didn't need the warning. We didn't need him on. So, that was my rant there for dislike. Is that number 2? Yep, number 2. All right, dislike number 3, the Harry Sheezel injury. It looked ugly, but he's a tough kid and he'll bounce back. We may have won if he stayed on. We only lost by 15 points and we win the game right to the end. His forward craft in that first half was unbelievable. Kicked that beautiful goal from a stoppage. Dribbled it along the ground. When things were going against us, he created something. Him and Sherry, beautiful teamwork. But he did a lot of the work there too, Sheezel. Not many players in the competition could have done that. So he had 16 disposals, something like 6 scoring involvements in the first half. Just a bad head clash and... lost him for the game. Probably lost him for the season. We're not going to. There's no risk in playing him this week. If he's got a fractured eye socket. So, unfortunately we lost Harry Sheezel. So, it just didn't look good anyway on the eye. So that's dislike number 3. Dislike number 4, and I mentioned this last week. The inside 50 count is still a problem. 45-65. The forward half game Geelong had after quarter time was just too much for us to handle, and did well to stay in the game considering we only had 45 inside 50s, but we made the most of our chances when we could penetrate their press, especially from the back half. So, but that's it's been still a problem. We're generally against decent times. We are losing the inside 50 count. And I think the forward half was 60-40. You're not going to win many games doing that. So that's something we've got to work on. We're going to work on system method in the off-season. We can't go into the next season playing this sort of same brand of football. I think even Alistair Clarkson kind of mentioned it. He didn't say it after the press conference, but he did say, look, they were going to always... The midfield battle was always going to even out after the first quarter. We just didn't have anything else after that, it's something we're going to have to work on. We're going to have to work on a system method, and it can't be man-on-man defence as well. It's got to be a press or a zone. We've got to come up with something a bit innovative. Clarko's got to go back to his Clarko cut cluster that he had at Hawthorn back in the day. Whether he needs new assistants, I'm not too sure, or whether it's just him. But we have to come up with something. And even that inside 50 count, a little bit better than it was. All right, dislike number 5, and this is my last one, but the non-Goda selection is a bit disappointing. And, we could have easily dropped a tall from that back line. It would have been Griffin Logue, because I think Cor's been quite solid for the last 8 to 10 weeks, and he deserves his opportunity, or he deserves his spot in the team. Unfortunately, had back spasms a week before, so perfect opportunity to bring in another rebounder into the team. And unfortunately, it seems to be a case of, we can't play Goda and Hardiman in the same team, which is a bit strange. Different players with different skill sets, but they've both got a bit of speed too, so which is what the modern game requires. So they were my 5 dislikes as I go to the X responses. There's only a handful here. Yeah, so there's about 11 or something like that. And yeah, there's been, I'm not going to go too much into this. Someone's message. I got a couple messages today about the whole Sydney Swans thing that's happening. It's dominating the news, but I'm not going to go too much into that. That's, a very different issue at the moment. And yeah, there's lots of play out. It's a very sensitive issue too. And thoughts obviously with the victims involved as well. And hopefully everything works out okay in that situation. I don't know how it's going to work out with things like that. There's a lot of, but I'm not going to go into too much, speculation, especially if there's no evidence just yet. There's no facts just yet. I'm sure a lot more will come out over the next few days, and at this stage, there might be a few players short, Swans. So that's all I'll say about that. Anyways, so I'll go to the responses on X. Peter D. Flaherty. He said, he replied, showed exactly where we are. Massive improvement again, but not the finished product. Pretty well summed up there, Peter. Thanks for coming in. Patrick Elwood, starting to beat expectations now. Starting to think about who we keep and who we let go now. Hoping Cooper Harvey can stay after, and a few tough calls need to be made. Yeah, look, I don't know about Cooper Harvey. I've got a feeling he's not going to be there next year. Just quietly, Patrick. I think he may look at other options on a personal level. I think his best football is forward, so forward of the ball, not behind the ball. But we'll worry about that when it comes. Josh at Josh LFC _6. Quarter 1, 3, and 4 were up there for the halves I've seen a North team compete for some time. Really need to learn to hold leads, though, and stop bleeding before too much damage is done and when Oppo get a run on. It was just the second quarter, wasn't it? Like 9 goals to 2, I think it was. But like I said, you can only win stoppages for so long before a team, that evens out. And, but there's got to be another method to our madness. The forward half game by Geelong compared to ours is worlds above us at the moment. So, but that's all part of the journey, isn't it? And we can only improve next year, I think, with that. And once we start working that out, look out. We're going to be as good as the AFLW team. Just quietly, I'll be talking about them a lot more on Thursday and how good they are. Rousseau at Rousseau at 118. AFLW, Ferguson or Marnie? It's got to be Jasmine Ferguson. Come on, Rousseau. Jeez. No, look, that Marnie, Jesus Christ. I don't know where they plucked her from, but they found another one. It was like watching Harris Andrews. I've never seen a debut like that. It was like watching Harris Andrews. Her backline positioning, just everything was, she just read the ball in the air. Her skills were immaculate, intercepted everything, and you can sort of see why. I remember a few weeks ago, they re-signed her already till 2027. I was thinking, she hasn't even played a game yet. How good can she be? But you did see that. Ferg, just solid, but I'll talk more about them as Thursday approaches. So, and AFL need key back and wing. Exploited badly on the wing. CD just can't run with the game anymore. Caleb Daniel, I really liked his move in the forward half. And I think a lot of people were onto that, especially in the last quarter. Yeah, look, I like him kicking the ball inside 450. He seems to have really good forward craft. That's where he played a fair chunk of his football with the Bulldogs before he moved into the back line. But, look, we've tried that before, and then all of a sudden we're moving back to the back line. So it's just, I don't like when it's, sorry about that, when it's too tall. It puts a lot on him to run and create and do everything back there. So if we can get McKercher, Hardiman, Goda, it gives a little bit more run and speed behind the ball, and it just frees him up a lot more to use his skill set of being a quality kick, that goes, 40, 50, 60 metres. That's what the Western Bulldogs had. They had some good speed around him, like Bailey Williams and a number of others, and it just enabled him to excel. David Hunter at Nurries 11. Where's Mark, Jesse, and Frank been Dean? Question mark. Look, they've all got their own thing going on in life. Now, I did not ask anyone to come on tonight. I would have had a guest on, but I wasn't too sure when I was going to record. Like I said, I had a lot going on in the last couple of days. I had my wife's birthday on Saturday, and a couple other things as well. So, and big day yesterday. Mark is very much. Look, it's hard to get him on because, he's doing a lot of work with his son, who's turned into a really good golfer at a very young age. Jesse has still has a baby at home, probably six or so months old. So it's very hard to get him on as well consistently, especially with the time frame. Anyone knows. Look, if I had a newborn baby, there's no way I'd be doing a podcast like this. You've seen... Jason, from the North Pod show, and I've had him on a few times. Even he can't commit to it right now because he's got a newborn as well. So, there's no way I'd be able to do this podcast. And Frank has had a lot of things going on in his life in probably the last 12 to 24 months. I won't go too much into it. It is a personal issue, and it's very hard to get him on consistently as well. So, there's different reasons for them all. I had a new guest on last week, James Duke, the Dukester. So, and I really enjoyed that chat with James. I'm sure I'll have him on soon. I'll just try and mix it up a bit more over the course of and get different people's opinions. I'm definitely in the off season, probably next couple of weeks. I'll get some people on in a Getting to Know You episode. I've already got a couple of guests lined up for that, so I'm really looking forward to that here in their journey. So that'll be good. But thanks for coming in, David. You're doing some good fitness work on Strava, I see. So keep up the good work there. Doing a lot of running. Schimmelboner at Port Canane 1. Best footy we've played in a long time. The first quarter was absolutely electric. Besides our standard half a quarter lapse in concentrated, and we played well. Some key acquisitions another season into our kids, plus a fit Jackson Archer, Goda and Stiffy next season should have primed for 2027. Jackson Archer's a bit of a forgotten man, isn't he? So he'll be that good lockdown small defender, but he's got a long way to go. Probably second half of next year, you'd probably have to think you'd try and get him into the team, because at the moment, it's coming off an ACL, he's had a lot of injuries, so he just needs to get some continuity in his legs and get his body right. Here he is, James Duke, the Dukester. James Duke, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Umpiring once again dodgy. It's terrible every game. How they could call that LDU goal inconclusive boggles my mind. I think the goal umpire was in the best position there, so I don't know how they could have possibly overruled that, because she gave it a behind, and it looked like it went over the post, but you can't really... we can't you couldn't overturn it, so you just had to go with her. She was in the best position. She had to make the call, and it was just umpire's call. It was a waste of a review, to be honest with you. It was always going to be like that. Herky at Herky Mark. Heaps to love. The improvement is off the charts, even if some are blind to it. Shocking second quarter, but the good news, whatever adjustments we did at halftime work. Key going forward, just have to learn to adjust during play. Showed grit and effort to hang in as we have most of the year. Yeah, look, and that's the thing. I was worried at halftime. I thought this is going to blow out. We lost Sheasel for the game. But full credit to them, and we were able to get in front at three-quarter time. And I wasn't too worried about the loss at the end of the day. It would have been nice to knock off Geelong, especially Patrick Dangerfield after eating a kebab last year. But I don't think we're that far off. So, it's a lot of encouraging signs. Ben Hill at Benny Hill, at Ben Hilly, 94. Pretty perfect encapsulation of this team. Midfield and forward line is leap, but the moment there's any pressure on the back line, they crumble. They bring in literally any AFL quality key defender, and they finish top 8 next year. It's just about getting that balance. I'll tell you what, I wasn't too impressed with Jacob Wiedering yesterday. First game back for a long time. I know people froth about him, and it's the type of player we want and need, but every time he intercepts the ball, and he's not accountable, I feel like we need more of a lockdown defender. I think Charlie Common is a good intercept player, I think Riley Hardman has that potential. I think Goda has that potential. Zerha looks like a really good intercept player back there. And Core looks like he could, worst case scenario, we could have him as a lockdown defender for next year, and I'd be fine with it. And all of a sudden, the back line's not looking as bad as we think. It's more the system that we worry about. I just don't want to pay for average, a Wiedering. I don't want to give up 2 firsts and players and all that for him. He's 28, almost 29. Look, every time he intercepts, he's like Zerha was yesterday. He was just too slow moving the ball. He goes sideways, and that's about it. I think we need more of a lockdown defender and a lockdown small defender. Hopefully that's Jackson Archer. That's what we probably need. And, just a little bit more speed. So there's a lot there. Anyways, but thanks for coming in there, Ben. Lewis at Lewis Ante. Most pieces of the puzzles are there. We concede way too much on turnover and don't score enough from opposition turnover. In my opinion, it's due to system. We fix that and we will challenge. Midfield is absolute A-grade dynamite. Mate, you should, Lewis, get your own podcast. You'd outdo me. Everyone would listen to you ahead of me. I'd listen to you ahead of me. I don't really like to listen to my own voice. So it's funny in saying that because I do my own podcast, but such a smart summary. And even, I think, Alistair Clarkson, we just don't punish. He's even mentioned that. We just, the difference between punishing a team from a turnover is light years behind probably the better team. So that's what's hurting us. We rely a lot on stoppages, which is relying a little bit on talent. And system, we need a new system. Well said, Lois. Tweet of the year. Thanks for coming in there, mate. Superwolf at Superwolf_AFL. So much to be positive about Dean. Our forward line functions so well, and we've found one in bench. Last 3 games, Hawks, Dogs, Cats, lots to like. Another positive from the weekend is we finish bottom 6 and get the easy draw again next year. Great platform to spring from. Really well said, and that's a really positive tweet there, Superwolf. So thanks for coming in, mate. I really appreciate that. And we talk about bench, and he hasn't played scrubs the last few weeks. He's played some good teams against the Cats, Dogs, and Hawks, and he's really shown a lot. So full credit to him. And he, based on that, fair enough if you're playing Richmond, Essendon, and all that, and he's getting kicks there, but he's playing against good quality defenders and good quality teams who have good systems. So really well said there, Super Wolf. So thanks for coming in on the chat there. And that's it for X at the moment. So I really appreciate everyone that came in, everyone that has come in there. And that's pretty much it. That'll do us for another episode of the #Kangaroos podcast. Like I said, it's not going to be too long. And I also said, I couldn't get any guests on because I wasn't too sure where I was going to be, when I was going to be on or anything like that. So, appreciate your patience with this, but I had to get something out. So, before, I'll speak to someone on Wednesday and I'll be back Thursday as well. But all in all, a frustrating 15-point loss to Geelong. But as I said throughout the show, there were plenty of positives to take out of it. That first quarter in particular showed what the North Melbourne side is capable of when we get our contest, pressure and ball movement all working together. Thanks again to everyone who sent through your thoughts on X. I always love hearing what you guys think. Lewis Ante, you're a star, and I'll continue to get as many of your responses onto the show as I can. Like I said, I'll be back. I should be back, unless things change, Wednesday afternoon with a special AFLW guest. We'll be going through her journey into the AFLW and how she got there, the challenges along the way, and what it means to finally make it the highest level. So plenty to look forward to there. Thanks again to everyone that listened to the show. Thanks to everyone who came into the show. Like, subscribe, tell your friends about the show, and I'll be back Wednesday at this stage. But until then,